What up, people? Welcome to another edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, best in the world at what he does. Yes, man, I'm back after a week absence. I'm back after having a great weekend last week with brother Mont and sister Steph and the rest of my family extended. And I'm back. I'm back for a full-fledged episode because I was gonna shortchange y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I was either gonna just give y'all a little sprinkle of salt based on the election, or a little sprinkle of salt based on Blood Money 13, aka WWE Night of Champions yesterday, which I'm not gonna lie, I watched it. Sure, listen, I boycott certain things, and listen, that was time to I had time to waste at my shoot job by watching 3 hours of nothingness. And after I watched, I was like, I'm not devoting my free time into reviewing that. Then I was going to talk about, you know, uh, the controversy still surrounding CM Punk and whether he is the cult of hypocrisy or not, and some things that happened in Saudi Arabia, i.e., apologizing to the Saudi Arabians, potentially brushing off a little kid, like, hey, buddy, get away from me. I don't got time for you. And the cringe inducing promo that was on WWE SmackDown this past Friday, where he was talking about punk life. This is basic punkonomics. Oh, listen, that was horrible. I mean, as a self-proclaimed, matter of fact, not a self-proclaimed, as a long fan of CM Punk, that was way out of the realm of possibility. If you would have told me 10 years ago that that would have been a segment that he was willingly to participate in, I would have called you an effing liar. But I said, you know what? It's not really time for uh, an in-depth talk about the land of make believe. It's not a time to talk about whether or not somebody is compromising their morals when we can talk about what's going on right now, currently in the city of New York. We had a Democratic mayoral primary this past week. And like I spoke about 2 episodes ago, it was between the main people, the main combatants were between Andrew Cuomo, former governor, three-term governor, three-term governor of the state of New York, and the newcomer, the up and rising, Zohran Mamdani, and his progressive, some would say socialist ways of how he wants to govern the city of Gotham. Well, the election was past week, this past Tuesday. I'm a registered independent, so I couldn't participate, but a lot of my people did. A lot of people I know did. And tell you the truth, um, this household did. And this household, without getting too in depth and without letting anybody know exactly where people's loyalties lies, was a split household. My wife, my daughter, I believe, voted. I know my wife voted. My daughter, since she saw gung ho, I'm quite sure she voted before she went to work. Hopefully, she did early voting. I don't know. But yeah, so that's what's going to be on deck this week. On deck this week, going to be talking about the past, the present, the future. Past meaning the outcome of this last um past Tuesday's presidential mayoral primary. The present, in which Eric Adams is on the attack like an attack dog, trying to chip down, trying to chop down, trying to get Mamdani in the mud. And on the outside looking in, some very, very interesting dominoes and political mind games, so to speak, in which both certain Democratic uh, leaders and Republican uh, spokesmen and so forth are actually, in a roundabout way, teaming up to make sure that Zohran Mamdani does not get into office. Some say this would be the end of New York City as we know it. So that is what's going to be on deck this week. Now, I entitled this episode OMITB. And a lot of people are probably like, what do those initials stand for? Well, I can tell you exactly what those initials stand for and where I, quote unquote, ate this from. There is an upcoming season 5 of the Hulu original series, Only Murders in the Building, which I ran through in about 3 weeks from season 1 to season 4, thanks to Mr. Brad Winchester of Gimmick Infringement. And I said, you know what? Those letters have a call me. They call me because those letters, I can institute that M for multiple things. Only Murders in the Building, Only Mike in the Building, because to tell you the truth, this is a solo entity. This is a solo podcast. So yeah, Only Mike in the Building. And due to the topic at hand, Only Mamdani in the building. Yes. So those three sentences are exactly what OMITB stands for. Hopefully, if I put that in the title, maybe I'll get some extra clicks. Because yeah, I'm about that click life. I could go on and on and on, but I think I'll probably be best served getting this show on the way and adding my little 2 cents, and more like 5 cents, and more like $1 worth of gain into the topics at hand. So this is going to be pretty much a political episode. Maybe I'll swing back around and give y'all all the news that y'all can use when it comes to the sports landscape, maybe later on this week. And for all my wrestling fans, matter of fact, all my fans of WrestleMania memories, don't y'all fret. I haven't forgotten about y'all. I really haven't. I've been trying to juggle whether or not I should do it on the comfy confines of this here gray couch in this humble abode of mine, or should I continue the theme and just do it on way, in my car? Sure, I was going to do it this past week, but guess what? It was 102 degrees in the city, and your boy, Mike Steph, has no car air conditioning going for 4 summers straight. I'm trying to break the Jay-Z record of 7 summers, or just get a new car. I know y'all probably like, why don't you just get the AC fixed? Not so easy, my friend. It's not just a situation in which I just had to act free on in. No. It's not a situation in which I just got to find a leak. No. Tell you the truth, I don't know what the problem is, because I am so dependent on my car to make sure that I don't have to inhabit New York City subways, New York City transportation, New York City transit, that I would rather bake in my car than get on the number 4, or the number 3, or the end train at any time during my 5 days of work. For those who know my occupation, I know that's a double entendre, and y'all probably like, wow, Mike, really? Yes, I'm dead ass serious. Shoot, listen, I don't knock nobody who has to. Tell you the truth, I really don't knock nobody who has to, because listen, I'm the only person in this house that can drive. But yeah, I ain't doing that. Nah, I ain't doing that. So without all that being said and done, let's get the show on the road, huh? Without further ado, good night, and goodbye. Ooh, there we go. Bang.
thoughts of Mike Steph, this marks a new beginning. Thanks for supporting a total reinvention. The soul is still here, but the vibe's a little different. Unpredictable, hide the kids and the women. Sports of all sorts, music mixed for living. Rep New York City, but hate the politicians. Always bring the heat, Steph bacon in the kitchen. Big shout to y'all, I appreciate the listen. Donnie put the rest, but I'm still in the best. In the word of what I do, all y'all know the rest. I live it, I breathe it, I'm the whole definition. The pinnacle, the ultimate, I'm on a new mission. The salty thoughts of Mike Steph, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, the best in the world of what he does. Tap in.
I swear, StreamYard will be the death of me. Anyway, enough about that. Mamdani! Zohran Mamdani won this past week's New York City mayoral primary for Democrats. Yes. But very, very soon after his victory lap this past Tuesday, in which he actually forced Cuomo to concede before the night was over, we got to get some jokes in, because of course he can't just get right to business of whatever business he's trying to accomplish here in the city. No. He wants to name drop rappers, and being the fact he's from Queens, Astoria, so to speak, but Queens nevertheless. I guess he wanted to show his street cred and go on the Breakfast Club and give his point of view, give his thoughts, give his campaign slogans and so forth, and then want to name drop one of the pettiest rappers known to man, one of the pettiest rappers in history, Queen's own 50 Cent, as the white people say, 50 Cent. Anyway, 50 Cent, and this is courtesy of the New York Post. 50 Cent said he'll pay a pretty penny to get rid of Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani and his tax the rich plan, after the Big Apple mayoral hopeful name dropped the Queens rapper on a popular podcast, i.e., The Breakfast Club. Where did he come from? Whose friend is this? I ain't feeling this pen. Nope. I will give him $258,750 and a first-class one-way ticket away from New York, 50 Cent wrote this past Wednesday on Instagram. The 49-year-old hip-hop star was firing back at comments Mamdani made about raising taxes while appearing on The Breakfast Club earlier this month. We're talking about corporations that are making millions of dollars, not in revenue, but in profit, Mamdani said during the June 11th interview about his plan to hike taxes on the businesses and the wealthy. And the second is taxing the top 1% of New Yorkers. We're talking about people who make $1 million a year or more, taxing them just by a flat 2% tax increase, he said on the nationally syndicated morning radio show and podcast. I know 50 Cent is listening, and he's not going to be happy about this. He tends not to like this tax policy, but I want to be very clear. This is about $20,000 a year, Mamdani quipped. Like, first and foremost, I think you would have been taken a little bit more seriously if you would just stuck on the topic at hand instead of trying to try to grab headlines by bringing someone famous, a celebrity. Matter of fact, not even a celebrity. Not even that part is grading. And yeah, I'm going to put my kufi on right now. Why did it have to be a black man? On top of that, why did it have to be a rapper? Or at least a former rapper? Why did it have to be someone so world renowned that you know would give a response back to have this volley back and forth to keep your name in the headlines? Why? I'll tell you why. Because this man has has a very, very interesting background, to say the least. And I'm talking about Mamdani. I don't know. I don't know why when I say Mamdani, I gotta scream it. I just can't say Mamdani. Zohran, I can't say that. I can't say Zohran Mamdani. I don't know. Sue me. It's just one of those names that just fill you with energy. And me being an asshole, to be honest. But before that, before I get into some other things that are going on with Mamdani and certain other political figures in the city, I'm going to show this video, and if it gets struck down, it gets struck down, so be it. But I'm going to show this video of an interview he had this past week in the immediate aftermath of him winning the Democratic primary in New York City on CNN with darn, what's her name? We'll figure it out. Here we go.
Some of that, but first, the breaking news. Isaac DeVere is reporting that Andrew Cuomo is not dropping.
Aaron Burnett, Outlook. Yeah, okay, continue.
Some of that, but first, the breaking news. Isaac DeVere.
My bad. Aaron Burnett, out front. Let me get it right.
Some of that, but first, the breaking news. Isaac DeVere is reporting that Andrew Cuomo is not dropping out of the general election race, right? And it's kind of a willery-woney, but the deadline's tomorrow. Is this a surprise to you?
Ultimately, Andrew's decision or my decision matters less than the decision that voters already took on Tuesday night, where we won from Bay Ridge to Dyker Heights to Harlem to Washington Heights. We saw a mandate delivered for a new generation of leadership.
Now, by all means, to the victor goes the spoils. And you can't tell me Mamdani wasn't talking his ish. Listen, he could run as an independent if he want. Or he just whipped his ass. So if he want to come, if he want this smoke, he can come get this smoke. Look, it was a mandate from sea to shining sea. From Dyker Heights, from Bay Ridge, from Morningside Heights, from all places in between. It was said that Cuomo wasn't the guy. I was the guy. I was that dude. Now, as he's going to come to find out that when you put yourself on Front Street, especially when you become the front runner, when you become the attraction that everybody's shooting at, the target that everybody's shooting at, because they find you to be such a threat, they're going to dig in your past. And they're going to try to clown you, such as when Aaron Burnett dug in the crates to find this.
He was an aspiring rapper under the name Mr. Cardamom. Listen.
Now, I didn't hear no lyrics. And that was kind of stereotypical. That's why I don't feel kind of, you know what, I'm not going to go there. But dude was in a halal truck. Watch it again.
He was an aspiring rapper under the name Mr. Cardamom. Listen.
Now, picture for all my New York heads. Picture You go to your local halal truck to get that lamb gyro, that lamb and rice, that chicken gyro, and so forth. Or as a dude like me used to go, I used to go to the halal truck to get a hot dog. Go figure. And then all of a sudden you just see Mamdani, Dani, Dani. Darn, that sounds eerily familiar. Dani. Anyway, like what about health inspections? He's in a halal truck with nothing but an apron on, dusting the shoulders off, dusting the dirt off his shoulders, doing the bankhead bounce all over your food. And y'all want to know why I don't go to get no street meat no more. I don't even go to the corner store. That bacon, egg, and cheese, that shit could wait. I'm good. I feel bad, but I'm sorry. When I go to our friendly neighborhood Ock, and now they got the friendly neighborhood Spaniard back there making bacon, egg, and cheese. I don't know. I feel like there's some compromise going on here. Is that bacon really pork free? Is that a chorizo? I want to know. But yeah. It's interesting. He's leaving himself up. He's leaving himself exposed to a lot of things. And now seeing that music video, I don't feel so bad dropping this.
Well, he was very cool. He think I have nice curls that go well with a full face. Idiot!
On you. Take it. That's for you.
See, I mean, he did it. Why can't I? You know what? No, that's anyway. Now talking about some of his colleagues, well, at least his party members in the city, who are not really that favorable of him getting to office, because he's bringing a lot of eyeballs to their upcoming elections this November. You know, he's already had the president, you know, Mr. Orange down in DC himself, mention what's going on in NYC, and multiple conservative. Matter of fact, that would be doing conservatives a injustice. Multiple MAGA people have already come out with the racial epithets, the racial slurs, the whole nine, but because he's a socialist. Now, Zohran Mamdani's policy agenda frees rent on nearly 50% of New York City apartments. Free bus service, meaning free transit bus service. Free childcare for kids 5 and under. That I agree with. City-run grocery stores. Huh? He said pretty much what he described was each borough will have, let's say, a city-run supermarket that will cater to the less privileged, the disenfranchised, and so forth. Okay. I get it. And if you think about it, maybe he's trying to liken them or trying to model them back in the 70s, 80s, probably before that, of when, you know, people would go to the neighborhood schools or whatever, to the truck, and get that government cheese, the dry milk, and so forth. So instead of doing that, then you would have these city-run supermarkets that were either, I don't think they're supposed to be given out free, but pretty much would be affordable for people, SNAP benefits and so forth. I get it. I really can't knock that because as a child, matter of fact, as a person who grew up in a household that like had food stamps, like listen, nowadays you don't get branded with the scarlet letter of being a food stamp recipient as you did in my day. Case in point, and yeah, I'm going off the beaten path, but so be it. Back in the days, we had funny money, food stamps, SNAP benefits, EBT. No. You couldn't play it off by just swiping or tap. Matter of fact, swiping and getting that bacon, egg, and cheese. No, you had to come out your pocket with the funny money, with the white money, the food coupon money. You get books, different colors. Brown was $1. I think purple was $5. Green was $10. That's pretty much how they went. Singles, 5s, and 10s. You didn't get no $20 food stamp because so when you would go to the corner store, let's say, matter of fact, I'll put myself on blast. I'll go to the corner store. It just so happened the one time you wanted to go to the store with some foodies, it'd be the one time one of your people see you. Yo, Mike, where you going? You go to the store? Yo, I walk with you. I'm like, so you go there and you and you playing it off and everything. Now, a fool like me, yeah, I say a fool because at the end of the day, like pride has a place, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It shouldn't matter. But back then, you would get clowned for being on food stamps, right? Even though probably their moms and them, their uncles and them probably was on the same shit, but neither here nor there. So sometimes I would go to if somebody went to linger along and I couldn't really shake them or couldn't slide it, I would spend my cash just to make things look good and still have my food stamps in my pocket, and then wait until later on to go and buy something with the food stamps. Or you go to a Chinese restaurant, and the Chinese restaurant used to take food stamps, right? Chinese restaurant actually used to cash in food stamps. I think 30 cents on a dollar. So if you give them a $10 food stamp, they give you $7. It worked back in anyway. So sometimes I'll go get some 4 wings and rice, right? Back then it was $2. So I give them a little $5 foodie, right? Of course, they couldn't just, they see how I slid it to them. They want to 1, 2. And I'm looking at them like, man, why you blowing me up? Damn, shoot. Listen, it got to the point. Remember, Old Dirty Bastard's inaugural LP, Return to the 36 Chambers? His album cover was his welfare card, his food stamp card. He didn't give a rat's ass. Matter of fact, he said, I'm 26 years old, still on welfare. Gotta get paid truthfully or untruthfully. But yeah, so now, people get EBTs, SNAP benefits, and so forth. I mean, you got people in their late teens, early 20s talking about, yo, my SNAP come through tomorrow. Yo, I'm about to rack up. To each his own. So I get the city-run supermarket, so to speak. Now, that free bus service, mother effers don't pay on the bus anyway. More people don't pay on the bus than don't pay to get on the train. And you want to give free buses? It's gotten so bad in New York City that how the buses come and they got the route number and the location or destination of where it goes. Let's say B16 Prospect Park. Now it says B16 Prospect Park. Fare is required. That's where it's come to in New York City. And you want to give these rascals free bus service? Matter of fact, how about this? This is a conversation I was having with one of my good buddies. who remain nameless. But if he listens and watch this, he'll know exactly who I'm talking to. We was having this discussion about student Metro cards, student Omni cards, right? In New York City this past year, they start issuing students Omni cards, Metro cards, with pretty much free transportation, not for just the school year, but for a full calendar year. Not only that, there was no limitation. The only limitation, you have 4 rides per day, 24/7. So if you were sneaking to get some ass at 3 o'clock in the morning, coming home, when you know damn well you're supposed to be getting that shut eye, about to get ready to get up to go to school for that first period class, guess what? You got a free ride. Ting! 4 rides, 24/7, 365 days a year. So my friend didn't realize it was actually 365 days a year. So I'm like, that's why they don't say school card, they say student card. He's like, hold on. So you mean to tell me that these kids during the summer, even if they don't have school, they get to ride for free? Yeah. A lot of them go away for the summer. So guess who's going to be riding for free? Their parents, their uncles, their aunts, their cousins. But he wants free bus service. But to wrap up, Mamdani, let's talk about the battleground that is the 5 boroughs. Democrats in New York battleground suburbs are distancing themselves from Zohran Mamdani and his lefty socialist policies, also courtesy of the New York Post. We are not socialists, Representative Laura Gillen, who represents Nassau County's 4th District, said in an interview Wednesday night on News Nation. Mamdani ran a campaign based on a bunch of promises, free everything, without any real economic plan to pay for it, other than raising taxes. I ain't gonna lie. He kind of did. I mean, one of his slogans was freeze rent. Freeze rent. Freeze rent. Now, Representative Tom Snozzy, who endorsed former Governor Cuomo in the Democratic primary and previously backed Mayor Eric Adams, said in a terse statement that he also was not on board with Mamdani. I had serious concerns about the Assemblyman Mamdani before the primary, and that is one of the reasons I endorsed his opponent. Those concerns remain, Snozzy said in a statement. Now, Gillen opposed Mamdani's plan to raise taxes on the top 1% city earners and on businesses to generate $9 billion for his proposal. The Congresswoman slammed the plan as impractical because it requires the approval of the governor and the state legislature, and argued hiking taxes would do more harm than good. New York City is an economic engine that drives our state, and we need to make sure that New York City thrives. Now, someone else who spoke out on Mamdani's. Look at that man. Look at him. He's just great. Someone else who spoke out on his policies or his promised policies is New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, who said she called Mamdani to congratulate him after he bested Cuomo in Tuesday's election, but raised issues of concerns, and did not endorse him as a Democratic nominee. Mamdani doubled down last Sunday on his plans to jack up property taxes on richer and whiter neighborhoods while asserting billionaires shouldn't exist. Mamdani Dubbed the Fidel Castro of New York by one deep-pocketed critic. Wow, that's crazy. Claimed that his soak the rich proposal was not driven by race, despite his campaign platforms explicitly targeting white homeowners. That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race. It's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed, Mamdani said last week on Meet the Press on NBC News. We've seen time and time again that this is a property tax system, that this property tax system is inequitable. It's one that actually Eric Adams ran on, saying that he would change in the first 100 days, which he didn't. The presumptive Democratic nominee, well, presumptive, shoot, that's fact, shrugged off concerns that invoking race could alienate voters, arguing that he's just naming things as they are. We're talking about our tax base growing smaller and smaller each day, with New York is leaving to New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Connecticut. If we don't meet this moment, we will lose the city. He also suggested that billionaires shouldn't exist. I don't think we should have billionaires. Frankly, he said, New York City is home to more billionaires than any other town in the world, with 123. He doesn't believe there should be any billionaires. Now, if he was a billionaire, would he believe that? Listen, I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a millionaire. I'm a thousandaire. Barely. Shoot. I'm more like, tell you the truth, in some days, I'm more like a hundredaire. If there was such thing as a tenadaire, yeah, I'll be that too. But before I change subjects and talk about the incumbent, Mayor Adams, I'm going to show you some political paraphernalia that I collected over the last 2 weeks. This is one. Zohran for New York City. We deserve safe streets and subways. Let me read. Raised in New York City, I know firsthand how leaders, Eric Adams and Andrew Cuomo, have failed to deliver public safety, especially when it comes to the MTA. That's why, as New York State Assembly member, I fought and won historic investments to make our transportation better and safer. As mayor, I will create a Department of Community Safety, to implement evidence-based solutions that deliver results. The fuck does that mean? Also, in a 4-point plan, which I'm not going to show you because it has my personal information on the back. Make our subways and streets safer. Deploy dedicated outreach workers in 100 subway stations. He does know that we have 467 subway stations, but I digress. Provide medical and casework services in vacant MTA commercial units and fund more transit ambassadors to assist riders on their journeys. Yeah, okay. Gun violence prevention. Increase funding for the crisis management system by 275%, including investing more in gun violence interrupters, workforce development, and youth mentorship. Okay. Improve NYPD service. Let police focus on the actual jobs. Stop requiring them to do the work of social workers and mental health professionals. Okay. Tackle hate violence. Rebuild the Interagency Committee on Hate Crimes. Strengthen the school bias response team and increase funding to key hate violence prevention programs by 800%. Here's another one. This is, as you can see, this is very anti-Mamdani. New York can't risk a mayor who supports defunding the police. I really don't think that's what he actually said, to be honest. It says he promised to defund the police and even wanted to dismantle the NYPD. Courtesy of a Twitter post from December 7th, 2020. Support higher taxes and more fees on New Yorkers. Courtesy of a New York State bill, August 18th, 2023. And radical plan puts the homeless in subway system rather than getting them the help they need to above ground. Yeah, I can't rock with that one. That was supposed to be from the Post, but yeah, I don't rock with that one. And last but not least, even though this is kind of a collector's item right now, the choice is yours. You could get with this or you could get with that. The choice for mayor is clear, is it? Zohran Mamdani, the wrong choice. Andrew Cuomo, the best choice. Well, evidently, the city thought otherwise. Andrew Cuomo always had our backs. Stood up for the workers, created over 1 million jobs, and cut taxes for working families. You know what? I know when I did my income tax last year, year before, for state, I actually got something back this year. I don't know how I owe. Anyway. Fought big corporations. Raised the minimum wage and passed family leave. Stood up to real estate interests. Enacted New York's strongest tenant protection laws. And Cuomo is still fighting for us. Well, if you're going to continue fighting for us, you're going to have to do that shit to independent because you already got 2 strikes against him. Next on the agenda, Eric Adams went on the attack immediately after Zohran Mamdani claimed the Democratic nominee. Like, to be perfectly honest, now, I've been called or I've been accused of giving Eric Adams some slack because I used to call him, and I still will call him Mayor Benson. And it was like, yeah, I'm gonna give the brother a chance. No. That's not what I said. What I said for a small amount of time was being the fact that I'm a black man, being the fact we got a black man in the office of mayor of New York City. Maybe I should not joke concerning his nationality. Not nationality, based on his race, right? I was like, you know what? It's one of those things that, yeah, we can do it. Nobody else should do it. But if people see we do it, then they're going to feel free to do it themselves. To avoid all that, maybe I should calm down. And then this mother effer just proved me right. And I was like, you know what? I can't win. So yeah, he's Mayor Benson. But what he said, I think maybe the day after the election, it's hilarious for 2 things. One, he ran as a Democrat last year, right? Now, that's not unprecedented for him to run as a Democrat and then change his designation in the re-election because Bloomberg did that. He ran as a Democrat, he ran as a Republican, and then he stole the third term. So it's not unprecedented. But For Adams to come out on the offensive as he has this week, and especially for him to be poking out his chest because he think he got Agent Orange in his back, or I mean, having his back, when in reality he's in Agent Orange's back pocket. For him to be talking his ish, the way he is, the coward. And I know y'all probably like, coward. Why is he a coward? Because he knew damn well if he ran as a if he ran as a Democrat, he wouldn't even made it to November. So that shows you how much faith he has in his record, in his last 4 years, in his current status, tenuous as it is. That he said, you know what? No, I'm gonna run on a different slate. Matter of fact, y'all battle it out. I ain't gonna be waiting for you in November. Some say it's smart. Some say not so smart. Can't really complain if you're a fan of him. But for the stuff that he said this past week is hilarious. And I quote, the mayor of New York City, Mayor Eric Adams blasted Mamdani as a snake oil salesman after the millennial socialist's shocking victory over Andrew Cuomo, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, in Tuesday's mayoral primary. He was saying anything to get elected. Adams, who will face the 33-year-old on an independent ticket in November's general election, said on Fox and Friends. So you went from being a man of the people, and all that other crap, to going on Fox and Friends to give your point of view? Okay. Among his proposals are to freeze rents for regulated apartments, subsidize free buses, and childcare to open up city-run grocery stores. Think about this for a minute. Mamdani want to raise taxes on the 1% of New York's high incomes. But as mayor, you don't got the ability to do that, Adams said, noting that raising taxes is something Mamdani could push for as in the state assembly, where he's currently serving a third term representing Queens. He doesn't understand the power of government and how you must be making sure you're improving your economy and raising the standard of living, Adams said. Mayor Adams officially kicked off his re-election campaign this past Thursday, pitting himself as the blue-collar candidate, which I take offense to, as the self-proclaimed blue-collar hero to the widows and the masses. The blue-collar candidate. Look at this mother effer. Does he look like a blue-collar candidate? Has he acted like a blue-collar candidate? Huh? Pitting himself as the blue-collar candidate saving the city from the silver spoon socialist, Zohran Mamdani. Adams addressed a raucous crowd of over more than 100 supporters, mixed with a couple hecklers, in front of the City Hall steps, arguing his battle-tested record showed that he deserved 4 more years as Big Apple mayor. It's a choice between a candidate with a blue collar and one with a suit and a silver spoon, he said, referring to Mamdani. The mayor's speech leaned heavily on his faith and personal backstory, from his dyslexia to formative childhood arrest to being labeled as a criminal amid his corruption case. Okay. Now you want to play victim. Okay, listen. If I'm not mistaken, I have a relative of mine that battled dyslexia when they were young. I'm not sure how they do it now, but yeah. So okay, kudos. But maybe that's why you was shortchanging yourself, because you thought it said $2 million and it said $2,000. I mean, you putting bargains out for free plane tickets. Anyway, but you said being labeled a criminal. Being labeled a criminal. Need I remind you?
I know what it is to buy a nickel bag and make 8 joints so mommy can feed herself. I know what it is to run numbers.
Yeah, you
I know
just
what
lock
it
them
is
up.
to do all those things. So I'm comfortable among my folks. And the problem that a lot of people don't understand is they don't know how authentic I am about this work. But they're going to look back over it and say, we had a mayor that came from us and delivered for us. Even the billions of dollars that I'm putting into MWBEs that we've never had before. People are going to look back over these years and say, this brother was real about what he's doing, because that's why I'm doing it.
I see you people rapping.
Authentic about this work. Authentic about this work. You're going to get this work. How much work have you pushed? How much work have you moved? Authentic about this work. Okay. Let me continue. If you're going to be a man of the people who are going through a lot, you must be a human being who has gone through a lot, he said. Adams trashed his critics and naysayers, arguing that he has a record of results. He also took a vile swipe against Mamdani's social media heavy campaign, contending he instead would focus on the bread and butter issues for New Yorkers. I'm not interested in Twitter politics. I'm interested in getting the trash picked up. Do you know how many rats we got in New York City? Do you know how much trash is on the streets of New York City? And you talk about compost? You talking about little ass garbage containers? And you talking about, I'm concerned about getting the trash picked up? Guess what? That's your effing job. I'm not interested in slogans. I'm interested in solutions. I don't work for special interests. I work for the people. And you work for Trump. You forgot that, right? You forgot that part, right? He's the reason. He's the person you should thank for keeping your black ass out of prison, right? Because they did have you dead to rights, and he pretty much put his hand on the scale and said, that's my favorite Negro right now. Leave him alone. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Leave him alone. Because I need that Negro in place so I can have control over what I want to get accomplished in New York City. Yes, indeed. That's what I said. I don't know why I'm saying this in a southern dialect, but when he just comes across as somebody who would talk to him like that. Yes, indeed. I don't know why I'm talking like Colonel Robert Parker. Yes, indeed. Now, here's another clip from said rally of Mayor Eric Adams.
This election is a choice between a candidate with a blue collar and one with a silver spoon. A choice between dirty fingernails and manicured nails. This is not a city where you use...
Hold on. Before I let that run over again. One with a blue collar and one with a silver spoon. Look at his suit. Impeccable. One with dirty fingernails. No, one with dirty fingertips and manicured fingernails.
This election is a choice between a candidate with a blue collar and one with a silver spoon. A choice between dirty fingernails and manicured nails. This is not a city where you use idealism to state you're giving everything to everyone for free. There's no dignity in someone giving you everything for free. There's dignity in giving you a job so you can provide for your family and the opportunities that you deserve. So this is not a city of handouts. This is a city of hands up.
Okay. This is not a city of handouts. This is a city of hands up. Freeze! Don't you move your black ass nowhere! Freeze! Ice! Run! He said there's no dignity in getting everything for free. Okay, to a certain point, I agree with that. I like to know that I accomplished what I accomplished. I like to know that I earned what I got. So I get it. I get it. I'm the type, I don't even like taking gifts. Like, my wife got me this for Father's Day, which is a Samsung watch, right? Like, it really almost brought me to tears because I don't like accepting gifts because I feel like it's free. Not saying I don't deserve it, but that's just the way I feel. I don't like people. Yeah, that's just not me. But for him to say that, to earn it, yeah, okay. Don't give me these upgrade. Don't give me these airline tickets for free. No. Matter of fact, I will grant you your permit on said business in exchange for you giving me said airline tickets for free. I will, look the other way or make sure inspectors don't come to your place of business and in turn for you to donate to my campaign. Do you know that everything I swear, some people would be better served to shut the hell up. And I think he would be better served in just shutting up. But he's trying to go on attack, not realizing this is the man who's pretty much our first mayor that's been out in the streets. Literally been out in the streets. Every award show, every show opening, store opening, whatever. Anytime that there was some hobnobbing with the celebrities, he was there. And you're talking about you blue collar? You talking about you got 30 fingertips? 30 fingernails? Why? Because homeboy, listen, I'm not going to try to equate, but based on this,
he was an aspiring rapper under the name Mr. Cardamom. Listen.
I'm sorry, that halal truck don't look too manicured. That halal truck doesn't look too suburban. That halal truck doesn't look too upscale. And I'm quite sure, you know what? I'm going to refrain from saying the next thing because I'm not going to go that far. But freaking Benson. I just don't understand. I don't understand what's going on. What's going on? You must take us there. Now, along with the rest, Andrew Cuomo, where does he fit in this upcoming November general election? Well, he still continued the campaign as an independent because he made sure he had a slot, pretty much his backup plan. And I'm pretty sure he made it official. I'm really, top of my head, I can't remember because I've been so focused on Mamdani and Adams. I'm quite sure Cuomo is, he's going to be on there now. To be honest, if he plans on, the fear is for, especially Wall Street and so forth. The fear is that if Cuomo and Adams both go as independents, that will they will cancel themselves out, and that will lead to Mamdani winning the overall thing. So much so that they are actually trying to angle in getting Curtis SLIWA, the Republican nominee, to leave the race and let Adams take his place as the Republican nominee. Now, Curtis SLIWA has defiantly insisted that he ain't going nowhere, as calls mounted for him to drop his long shot bid over fears that Mamdani's surging campaign will overtake the city. The pressure campaign on SLIWA amped up this past Tuesday when Mamdani beat Cuomo, officially putting Cuomo into that second seat, or pretty much officially putting Cuomo in the slot of independent along with Mayor Adams. Now, sources said that Adams, who is running as an independent, hasn't given up his Hail Mary hope of taking over SLIWA's spot on the coveted GOP party line in the general election. Adams has been gunning big time for SLIWA's spot as recently as Wednesday, and even told bigwig donors that the red beret wearing vigilante was dropping out for a job in the Trump administration, according to sources. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I got bigger fish to fry, such as a very surprise segment. But how would he know that SLIWA was going to drop out of the race for a job in the Trump administration? That's one thing I can say. Unless I've been blind as a bat, I don't recall Trump and SLIWA having any type of close-knit connection that would just automatically put him in the administration in DC. If anything, if they had a strong connection, I think Trump will really want SLIWA to be in New York, in the city. Unless Adams is trying to backdoor SLIWA and going to Trump saying, well, it would be much easier if we get this old vigilante mother effer out of here and let me run as a Republican. And then you could put all your power into your party behind me, and we could overtake this Mamdani fool. And Cuomo, I think Cuomo and Mamdani might cancel each other out. And then I can get another 4 years to be at your beck and call, master. Curtis SLIWA. Founder of the Guardian Angels, hence the vigilante term. Now, I think I might have said this before in the past, and if I didn't, I'm going to reiterate it. I remember the Guardian Angels back in the 80s, early 80s, because the New York City transit system was a terror. You get on that train past a certain time, especially depending on what train and what line and what area of the city. It was pretty much akin to the Warriors movie. Like, it was really Wild Wild West out there. And I remember my mom, because a lot of times we used to have to travel from Brooklyn to the Bronx. They was primarily centered in the Bronx and Upper Manhattan. So when we get on the train, if my mom used to say if she saw a Guardian Angel, she felt a little bit more at ease. Like, she still had her pepper spray. She still had her mace. But she could kind of like ease up on the trigger of the mace because the Angels was on there. And then, as the city, quote unquote, got better, or should I say, the system got better, they kind of, went to the background. Also, little known fact, they actually expanded out of New York. I want to say, shoot, at least probably over 10 years ago. Yeah, probably about 12, 13 years ago, I was in Pennsylvania, Eastern Pennsylvania to be exact. And don't you know that they actually had guardian angels in Eastern Pennsylvania? Not Eastern, Easton, home of Larry Holmes. I saw them march down the street. I'm like, yo, what the? Since when? So, dude, I was talking to, he was like, yeah, they've been down here, you know, which go da 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 da, you know, which go SLIWA came down here, blah blah blah, and got, you know, because it started getting hectic down here, so they would just. I'm like, wow, okay, interesting, but yeah, so that's my backstory in SLIWA as a politician. I mean, I've seen them pass my place of business, my shoot job numerous times, in the Borough Park, Bay Ridge, Dyker Heights community, talking to community leaders and having, you know, uh, outings and such. And he's actually taller than I really thought, you know. And for somebody, I guess what, probably in the 70s now, late 60s, early 70s, that's very lucky. I'll give him that. But didn't he get shot back in the 80s or 90s? And wasn't he married to Lisa Evans? Wasn't Lisa Evans a guardian angel? You know, Lisa Evans from Street Soldiers? Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know they was married because her name was Lisa SLIWA at the time. And tell you the truth, little known fact for all my wrestling heads, she was actually on an episode of Tuesday Night Titans, TNT, back in the 80s. I want to say late 85, around then, right after the first WrestleMania. Google it or go on Peacock. Lisa Evans SLIWA or Lisa SLIWA. Yeah. I was shocked. I was like, wow. You know, so she goes back. You know, they both go back in the city. Whether this plan is going to work, I don't know. I think a political connector bond sent me a text that there was some news or some scuttlebutt that there was plans of SLIWA joining Adams in a quote unquote unity ticket to take down Mamdani. That's crazy. But you know, all hands on deck, right? You know, that you know, one last thing, and it's funny because throughout my life, people in my ilk was pretty much always considered public enemy number one, right? And then 9/11 happened. And then was Muslims or people of Arabic descent were public enemy number one, and we slid down to number two. And even now, you know, it's like only now, based on him being in this position, is that being more apparent. You know, with somebody, I think Laura Luma putting a Punjab or something on photoshopping that over the Statue of Liberty, which is like gross. But even now, it's almost like with all this deport immigrants and so forth, there's another quote unquote public enemy number one. And it's kind of sad in certain cases when people of my ilk decide to join up with the establishment to focus on the newest enemy when we're always the enemy. And they're all they're doing is using you to get their point across. And then once you're no longer service, guess what? To the trash you go. And that's my public service announcement. My PSA, if you will. Doom, doom, doom. Doom, doom, doom. So awful, unlawful, thought to a fault, just doing what I have to. Get taken for granted, nigga can't understand it. While let my nigga feel vanish, just never return. I feel violated. That's how a good dude feels. Up a hatred. Blood pressure boy from within, ill festers. Now, my last segment, because you know, I listen, I got to bring some levity to this. I mean, I've had my jokes and everything, but shoot, everything got why so serious? Newest segment. Name that theme song. Yeah. As everybody knows, I like to sometimes just burst out in song, some popular songs, some wrestling songs, some verses of my own, so forth. And while I was getting this podcast together, and I was going through my private stash of movies and shows, I start reminiscing about songs in the 80s, shows that I watched in the 80s that I loved growing up. And the theme songs are pretty much like unmistakable. So I figured, you know what, this would be a perfect thing for me to actually get some some singing out, and also to have some nostalgia. So name that theme song. Theme song number one. I don't know how many of these I'm going to go through. I have four listed. I'll probably go through a little bit more, but here we go. Number one. Here we are, face to face, a couple of silver spoons. Two of a kind, going fine, taking it home together. They're gonna find a way. Oh, did I mix that up with Perfect Strangers? I think so. But Silver Spoons. Here we are, face to face, a couple of silver spoons. The star of that show was Ricky Schroeder, who is a world-renowned crackpot now on social media, and I believe card-carrying member of the MAGA party. If I'm mistaken, don't sue me. Allegedly. Yeah, allegedly. But that's probably one of the reasons why even though I see that on the list of stash, and I'm like, I'm not watching no damn Silver Spoons, but I remember Silver Spoons. That was when Carlton of Fresh Prince fame made his debut when he was still on Broadway as the Tap Dance Kid. What is it? Alberto Ribieto or something like that? Alberto Ribieto, whatever. Yeah, him. Tap Dance Kid. Silver Spoons. Black guy in Silver Spoons. Black kid in Silver Spoons. Okay. So now you get the gist, right? Okay. Number two. Everywhere you look, in a long time there, you're all alone. I didn't carry your own. Everywhere you look. Family Matters. Everywhere you look. Okay. Here's an oldie but goodie. I used to tell you the truth. I thought this was like ABC's version of Family Ties. And once again, you got two stars of the show. Kirk Cameron. Matter of fact, Kirk Cameron has been kind of a quack. Listen, I'm not talking about his religious thoughts, because listen, by all means. But yeah. Matter of fact, I almost gave it away. So as long as we got each other, we got the world thinking fighting up, baby, you and me. We gotta be not secret. As long as we got each other, we got the wing coming right up our back, baby, freedom sign. all the time. Long as we got you, long as we got you. Growing Pains. Alan Thicke, father of Robin Thicke. Also host of a short-lived late-night talk show, Thick of the Night, hosted by Alan Thicke. Yes. It's more than life than what you're in. Take a chance and face the wind. Open the road and roll that. Get the brand new life, brand new life, brand new life around the bend. Who's the boss? Y'all remember Who's the Boss? Oh my goodness. Tony Danza, Angela, a young Alyssa Milano, the whining ass boy, Danny Pintero. Yeah, classic. Next one. I bet we've been together for 1,000,000 years. And I bet we've been together for 1,000,000 more. And I bet we're good, oh, yeah. What would we do, baby, without us? What would we do, baby, without love? And it ain't no bad thing. We can't not be other do. What would we do, baby, without love? Sha-na-na-na. Family Ties. Alex P. Keaton. Here's a close note. Well, a little behind the scenes. People who know me, F it. My name is Mike Steph. For short, my full name is Michael A. Steph. For short. But neither here nor there. The reason why, for years and years and years and years and years, I always include my middle initial is based on Family Ties. Yes. Your boy thought he was Alex P. Keaton, a.k.a. Michael J. Fox. Your boy went to 4th grade, and I wanted to be Alex P. Keaton in the flesh, the black version. So I, soon I realized the follies of my thoughts, but I carried my books, which were a lot, in an attaché case. Yes. I tried to wear assembly clothes every day for a week. And then people were looking at me like, what's the problem? What's going on? But also, my 4th grade teacher, Mr. Ugoda, he wore a shirt, tie, slacks every day. That was it. Shirt, tie, slacks every day. Also, in his class, 4th grade, you cannot write in pencil. You had to write in pen. Also, not only that, you cannot print. You had to write in cursive. Yes. And he was the first teacher that I ever had that did homework as a primer for your lesson the next day instead of a review of what you learned. So if you did not do your homework or you did not do your homework correctly, you had no idea what was going on the next day. Shout out to Mr. Ugoda, wherever he's at. Shout out to Miss Toy, his wife, who was my 5th grade teacher. First time that I saw in school a faculty member, an interracial couple. Mr. Ugoda was white, Miss Toy was black. And Miss Toy, until you knew her, you thought she was the meanest person, but Miss Toy was great. Miss Toy was great. Mr. Ugoda actually was great too. Because without them, you know, they really let a foundation. Last but not least, well, we're moving on up, moving on up, moving on up, moving on up to the deluxe apartment in the sky. We're moving on up, moving on up. Beans fucking on fire. Beans don't burn in the kitchen. Beans don't burn on the grill. Took a load out of trying. Just get up that hill. Now we up on the big three. It's my friend at back. Don't mean, baby, you and me, baby. It ain't nothing wrong with that. We're moving on up, moving on up. The Jeffersons. Hey, Weezy. Hey, Honky. Hey, Mr. Bentley. Hey, Lionel. Hey, Jenny. Yeah, I know y'all remember the Jeffersons. Yeah. So that's my first. This is my first segment of Name That Theme Song. Please, if y'all got some requests, put it down in the comments, and I'll try to oblige your requests in the upcoming episodes. You know. So yeah. A little rough around the edges, but got the job done. Well, people, that brings to the end of another edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast. I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for making me and the podcast here the one y'all choose to view and the one y'all choose to listen to. Shoot, tell you the truth, that listen to part, I should probably scrap out the outro because I haven't uploaded the audio version of my world renowned, hardly ever listened to podcast in months. But soon come. The reason I'm giggling right now, because I'm like, wow, I don't know what made me choose the photo of Griselda Blanco smoking that crack as an outro picture. But love you, baby. Oh, my baby's coming out the living room. I mean, out the bedroom, looking like a vision of love. You don't know what you do to me. She is a vision of love. Don't you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's my Mariah Carey version of Vision of Love. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah. So next week, probably be back more to the sports side of things, maybe depending on what goes on in the political atmosphere. I will give you a heads up. In 2 weeks, your boy, along with his family, is taking a hiatus. I'm not gonna say but so much because shoot, I still live in Brooklyn. There's still some schemers out there. But there will not be any episode the week of July 13th unless I make an episode I have a schedule to drop because I will not be indisposed at that time. Well, I will be indisposed at the time. Yeah, that's what it is. So next week will be a full-fledged episode. Hopefully I'll have a sprinkle of salt sometime this week. And hopefully I will have the next episode of Mike Steph's WrestleMania Memories, focusing on WrestleMania 21 this week. Listen, I already got the stuff. You know, Eddie Guerrero, and actually Eddie Guerrero's last WrestleMania appearance against Rey Mysterio Jr. The dream match of HBK, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and the Olympic hero, Kurt Angle. The coronation of the Animal Batista, taking down the Cerebral Assassin, Triple H himself. The Legend Killer, going against the undefeated at the time in WrestleMania, Undertaker. The true coronation of John Cena, going against JBL. And the inaugural Money in the Bank ladder match, in which this mother effer, Edge, won, and two people are no longer. Well, actually, one is no longer wrestling, and the other one shouldn't be wrestling anymore. Were involved in this piece of history. Yes. And just maybe I'll talk about John Cena's pipe bomb against the straight edge savior himself, CM Punk, and how much I think, CM Punk to this day, I still think he was set up to fail. But that's neither here nor there. So yeah, that's what's on deck. Well, matter of fact, that's not what's on deck, but that's what's potentially on deck in the upcoming episodes. For me to get out of here, before I get out of here and risk another copyright strike, even though I don't think this was technically a released song. Speaking of theme songs, this classic.
2003, and we facing off, and we got what it takes to ball. If you got what it takes for defense, when you lead a bitch, bring your ball game, sneaks and all, get lost.
Whoa, damn. I guess that's probably for the best. NBA Live 2002. That mixtape was fire. That was Freeway featuring Memphis Bleak. Get lost, get win, get to the vent again, with the beast to win. Ouch! What the hell did Freeway say? Ouch! That hurt a little. Yo, how you gonna say that? Ouch! That hurt a little. And then you got best part. I can't lie. Bleak said, "What the hell did he say? Me MVP, that MV Bleak." Yeah, some crap like that. Bleak got off. I ain't gonna lie. Bleak got off. Yeah. So with that being said, please check out my brother from Gimmick Infringement, Winchester McDowell, each and every late Sunday night, early Monday morning for Gimmick Infringement.
And now, Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blank, TMB.
What we gonna do? Drive around.
Yes, please check them out. Each and every late Sunday night, early Monday morning. Also, check out Tyler's solo endeavor for AZ.
Drive around, raise the sunroof, rebel loud. We gon' come through, cause we got no time to waste. Gotta rap where we come from. Ain't a fight that we could ever run from. Tell your girl she can kick it if she wants some.
Tell your girl come kick it if she wants some, cause we got no time to waste. Yes, he kicked off his second season of 4AZ last week, where he had Desmond Powell of Hip to the Games as his inaugural guest of season 2, in which they discussed the first anniversary, the 1-year anniversary of the Pop Out. That's right, Kendrick Lamar, amongst other things. But I was like, I knew it was something that was focused, and just took a while for me to get the noggin working. And please check them out on the YouTube channel of 4az.org. Matter of fact, that's a website. And please check them out on the YouTube channel of 4AZ. And last but not least, please check out the aforementioned Desmond Powell and
Hip to the Games, the podcast for you, the basketball junkie and the hip hop head. I'm your host, Desmond, and I too have had hoop dreams and enjoy the beautiful genre of hip hop and its history. Together, we will enjoy some of the greatest albums, songs, artists, players, moments, teams, and so much more, while even mixing the two on occasion, all in my hope that you remember why you love both or either of these to begin with. You'll soon understand that Hip to the Games is more than just a podcast. It's a lifestyle. And if you were looking for a platform that combines both basketball and hip hop, you've come to the right place.
Please check out Hip to the Games. It drops each and every Friday, every other Friday on the YouTube channel of the Nyc Media Group. And all streaming platforms where podcasts are available. Last but not least, definitely, it was something else I was going to say after that. Yes, his latest episode, he is breaking down the Carter 6 released by Lil Wayne and how it's probably not as trash as people are saying it is. I don't know. For some reason, I just can't get into current music nowadays. The only current music that I could get into, and I wish I would have had a clip to actually. Matter of fact, hold on 1 minute. Yeah, the only current music that I'm listening to right now, especially rap wise, is the latest release, full length LP from Radamez and Fortez, called Lightman, and this is that project full length. The songs resonate with me as they should with y'all if y'all listen to it. It's on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple, Tidal, YouTube Music, Amazon, the whole nine. Um, the way they fit together like a hand in glove is impeccable. I'm not only saying this because which God Fortez is the homie, and shoot, which God brother for real. He's always been such a humble dude. So I'm really happy for him, and through his um, music, I've come across Radamez, and he really has lyrics that with substance and meaning and full of spirituality and everything. And like that's what I'm bumping right now. So, like I said, at this point in time, I'm probably gonna get like strikes out the wazoo. So this might be actually an audio only, but this song right here, like I said, I wish I had it on deck, but I just want to let y'all listen to this one. It's called "Getting Your Flowers." Goodbye.
Oh, come into the special audience and press special on chapter one because he said you turn to God from out. He didn't say you turn to God in out. He said you turn to God from out. I was downtown like Miracle, looking for an antidote, thinking it was vain for more than a decade. For nothing, attempting to express creates less pain as if it's worth it the same way. You didn't affect me with your claims, but it did hurt. Never thought you'd be the one to make the list burst. Still, close fists and open mouth, the only metal shouts, translators for empty mouth, a solid slap. As soon as you cheer yourself on, they have to quiet down. In your circle lasts almost a year when you're not around. In your circle lasts almost a year when you're not around. The hardest part of revisiting the highlight clips is keeping no malice. I've never seen a disaster that wasn't natural. Yes, that's good air course, but how they handle baggage. Put you in the passenger seat. My disadvantages, forgiveness stings, miraculous wins. We learn balance and unlearn habits that later taxes. I've seen lack of patience kill more dreams than failure. Judge me, I can handle it.